Well, a win is a win, but it got messy in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about why the Thunder struggled offensively in the final frame.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Ryland Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Ryland_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, brought to you by Game Time, we're diving into this Thunder win over the Dallas Mavericks. A messy ending, but the Bigs delivered in a big way with double-doubles. Ajay Mitchell stayed red hot despite the struggles offensively for this team in the fourth quarter. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Go download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Subscribe, like, comment, review Locked On Thunder anywhere you get your podcast from, including on YouTube. We're here for you every single day, and you everydayers make this show work. We're getting out more and more and more content for you Monday through Friday, plus after every single game, plus our 2 live streams Monday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time, and a new show coming down the pipe that you will not want to miss. So subscribe to Locked On Thunder anywhere you get your podcast from. Look, this was a game in which it ebbed and flowed dramatically for the Thunder only, exclusively, right? Because heading into this, no J-Dub, no Caruso, no Joe, no Kenrich, no Topic for OKC. Dallas, no Kyrie, obviously, but also no Gafford, no Lively, no Exum, no Brendan Williams for the Mavericks. OKC enters 3-0. Dallas enters 1-2. Second night of a back-to-back for Dallas. First night of a back-to-back for OKC. And the Thunder start this game on an 11-2 run. And they forced Dallas to call that timeout. Dallas makes it a 4-point game. And from there, it was back and forth until the Thunder have their third quarter avalanche. The Thunder grow this 20-point lead that you think is going to hold tide and hold true for the remainder of the game. And then they open the door. They didn't crack the door. They didn't leave it unlocked. They didn't leave the door ajar. Big word, look it up. Didn't leave the door ajar. They left it wide open for Dallas, and they could not walk through it, which the Thunder have to get better at. Because there are just little things that this team is not doing at a high enough level right now, but they're all explainable. They're not concerns to me. For example, defensively, there are moments where the Thunder lagged behind. And part of that is because of how complicated this system is. When they're switching every screen, when they're trying to dig the gaps hard and trying to swarm the paint and then fly out the shooters, when they're trying to show and recover in pick and roll, they're just a step slow. There's just some miscommunication where guys are not caught napping the way it might appear on video or one year if you're watching the game, but just unexpecting what's going to happen on the back end of the play. That's what made this Thunder defense historic last year, was that everyone knew what everyone's role was going to be and who was going to go where. And you're seeing at times here with this switch heavy system that there are certain moments where the Thunder are expecting the backside switch off of a pick and roll. It's not happening, and there's easy buckets being had down the stretch of this game, especially for Dallas. That's going to get cleaned up naturally. That's going to get cleaned up by J-Dub coming back, Caruso coming back. There's no two guys better at doing those things and those little details than those two. It's why they've made all defensive teams, folks. So it's not a concern, but it is a reality that the Thunder live in right now. So, again, not concerned about it, but it is worth noting of why this game, in which the Mavericks never led, they had the opportunity to win this game down the stretch. Because after they had played tight, where in the first half, the Thunder never grew a lead bigger than 9, and that third quarter avalanche, you think that it's going to be enough. That fourth quarter, the Thunder offense stagnated in a big way. Luckily for the Thunder, Dallas could not capitalize, but they got this down to a 3-point game. And that just cannot happen. This offense has got to be able, even with the players that are out, Isaiah Joe would have helped, J-Dub would have helped, Caruso would have helped, even with the players that are out, they've got to be able to learn the lesson from a game like this, where no team's going to roll over for you. No team's going to let you just blow them out. The Thunder had the best point differential ever last season. They won the championship last season. Teams are going to keep fighting for 48 minutes. And right now, some of these teams are already desperate. The Mavericks would have loved to get back to 500 tonight. and kind of ease some of the early season concerns for Dallas. And you've got to continue to do what you do best. And what did they do in the third quarter, OKC? They just absolutely and utterly abused the Dallas Mavericks in the paint. They had 40 points in the quarter, 39 to be exact in the quarter, and they all came in the paint for the most part. They beat the Dallas Mavericks like a rented mule in the paint. They got whatever they wanted to. And yet what happened in the fourth quarter when things started to struggle and stagnate? They start settling for contested mid-range jumpers. They start settling for some threes. They're not quick into their actions. They start to wait until the play clock gets down to 8 and then start to try to attack. They got out of their routine. They got out of their rhythm. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are much like one of your friends who is really routine-oriented. You take him on a vacation. He's no longer on a set schedule. He's no longer waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden the whole day falls apart. Certain people need a routine. The Thunder in basketball terms need a routine. They've got to keep the pedal to the metal. They've got to keep attacking the rim. And again, this is not a concern because who could have stopped the bleeding in this one? J-Dub getting to the rim. Caruso hitting a big shot as a play finisher. Isaiah Joe hitting a three. Like that all could have stopped the bleeding. It's not a long-term concern. And we've seen the Thunder, even in the playoffs, even in the biggest stages, the biggest moments, have games like this where they let a team come back. They even end up losing. Denver, Indiana. And they respond the very next night, and they have a proven track record of not letting this define them. And this won't define them. This will be a blip on the radar. This will be something that you don't talk about in 24 hours, honestly. I expect even on the second night of a back-to-back, OKC responds in a big way to this game. But that fourth quarter was too close for comfort. And this is why it happened, in my opinion, of why they left this door open for Dallas. They've got to get into the paint. We'll talk about individuals coming up, but ultimately, you didn't want to see this happen. Like you didn't want to see the Thunder have their lead shrunk to 3 on the first leg of a back-to-back, because had they done in this game what they did in Atlanta on Saturday, and had that fourth quarter been an easy cruise, you could have gotten some much needed rest for a shorthanded bunch heading into Tuesday. Instead, you had to play your guys down the stretch. But Dallas never leads. OKC led by 22, only one tie in this game. OKC was a plus 12 on the glass, but here's the kicker. The Thunder only forced 8 turnovers against this Mavericks team that is, admittedly by Jason Kidd, shorthanded on guards. And they've been a mess, frankly, when it comes to initiating offense. They only had 8 turnovers against this Thunder defense. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City commits 13 themselves, which is a high number for what they usually have been if you date back to last year. But to our point earlier, the Thunder crushed Dallas in the paint, 68-36. OKC wins the paint. Dallas, despite being outboarded, won second chance points 11-7. OKC, despite having fewer turnovers in the sense of the turnover battle, they had a fast break opportunity and had fast break points up 12-10 on Dallas. So it was a weird game on those two fronts. But here's the biggest thing: the Thunder continue to struggle from 3. It's been a mess from 3 in the production, but not in the process. And so this is where it becomes this double-edged sword, where it's like you can take the results of what's happened these first 4 games, and you can jump to some scary conclusions about this team in a negative direction. But if you look at what's actually happening, if you watch these games, if you break down these possessions, if you break down these threes that they're missing, you just shrug your shoulders, because it's just a situation where, if we go and we rewatch today, if I brought you here to Thunder, Lockdown Thunder HQ, and we sat down and watched every single 3 this team has taken, and we paused the clip as soon as the 3 left the hand of the shooter, you'd say that's a good shot. Like you'd say that's a good shot. That's a good look. That's the kind of offense you want to generate. And you play the rest of the clip and the shot doesn't go in. Eventually, the shots have to go in. But tonight, the Thunder shot 46% from the floor. 46% from the floor, despite shooting 20% from 3. I mean, it got so bad that these teams combined for 1 for 17 in the second quarter from 3. Like, this was just awful. 20% from 3 for OKC in this game, 84% at the charity stripe. Dallas, meanwhile, shot only 37% from the floor, but they did shoot 30% from 3, 72% at the charity stripe for Dallas. So a messy ending, but listen, you'd much rather win ugly than lose pretty. You just much rather would get the win. And the Thunder have constantly found ways to win games, even despite being shorthanded. So it's really about your personality in a lot of ways of how you absorb this 4-0 start. Are you glass half full? Are you glass half empty? I've presented you both sides. You've got to make the decision. For me, given this team's track record, given what this team has been through, and the fact that they've won a championship, and the fact that they've had all these problems, and yet at the end of the day, they eventually get swept under the rug because of winning, I'm not going to let it overcome what's happened. I think that a 4-0 start is still really encouraging for where the Thunder are at on the injury report. So that's where I'm at on this Thunder team. Coming up, though, the big reason why you won this game was the bigs. It was Isaiah Hartenstein. It was Chet Holmgren. We'll talk about Shai's weird night that he had and Ajay Mitchell staying red hot. But first, I want to say right now, but our good friends over at FanDuel, go check out FanDuel today because FanDuel is incredible, folks. You're going to want to check them out as we had today the sports equinox. We had NBA, we had football, we had soccer, we had hockey, we had everything today. It was all over the place, and you could have bet on all of it at FanDuel. The NBA season, of course, heating up here in week 2. You can go to FanDuel.com right now and start betting. You can make live bets. You can make same-game parlays. You can do the spread, the player props, the over-unders, all at FanDuel right now. It's very exciting. And new customers can get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up today and to play your game at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. First $5 bet, if it hits, you get $300 in bonus bets. Again, you can do this on NBA spreads, on NBA games. Like, for example, you can see tomorrow's slate already up. Thunder, 10.5-point favorites over the Sacramento Kings on FanDuel right now. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also want to tell you right now about the Game Time app, which I love. And speaking of the Thunder Kings game tonight, folks, basketball season is here, and nothing beats being in the arena for these opening games. It's only the second game in the Paycom Center this season. Let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache at times. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, the price jumping right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated and discouraged when you just want to go cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. It's the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Go there right now today because I love the fact that there is zero hidden fees at checkout. The price you see is the price you pay at Game Time. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25 at Game Time. And their zone deals are a game changer. You pick your section you want, and Game Time automatically gives you a look at the seats where you're going to save the most at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets at Game Time today by downloading the Game Time app, creating your account, and using code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. So again, create your account at Game Time. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, tick, go at Game Time. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're here for you every single day. Folks, let's talk Isaiah Hartenstein. This was his best game of the season, and it was that way from the opening tip through his timely buckets at the end to get the Thunder this win. He was active all night, running the lane, running rim to finish off plays. He had great tap-out rebounds to secure extra possessions for OKC. He even had plays that didn't show up in the box score, but showed up in what we talked about earlier of, yes, the three-point shooting is a concern, but he ran a perfect DHO with Cason Wallace, where he lets the ball go, and Cason Wallace gets to run up under the ball on a movement, catch-and-shoot three in the corner, wide open. The shot misses. That's a three-point shot that the Thunder need to continue to generate, and they couldn't generate last year at a high enough clip. Those are quality looks that eventually have to fall. And it's just a weird situation you find yourself in because it's like Cason Wallace. Like, yeah, again, glass half full or glass half empty. Is he closer to his rookie season output of a 40% clip from three or last season? We don't really know yet, but you still want those shots from Cason Wallace to be developed and to be looked upon for his future and for this team's future. And so it's like that play does not register in the box score. That play does not register with a lot of people, but it is important to kind of qualify what's been going on with this Thunder offense and what's been going on with these threes. It's not been haphazard threes. It's not been bad shots. It's been a lot of good looks that just don't fall. He had that floater working, including, over AD. He did a great job of taking advantage of the Dallas Mavericks tonight. The Mavericks are built to be this big team. They've talked a lot about being double bigs. Well, they couldn't tonight. They didn't have Gafford. They didn't have Lively. And so there were times where he got Klay Thompson switched on to him. And he took Klay Thompson right to the deep paint, sealed him off perfectly, awaited the entry pass, and put an easy 2 points on the board for OKC. He had to defend AD in space at times, which I thought was interesting from him, but he kept himself available, always looking for the basketball with soft hands, ready to capitalize on dives to the rim. And to the handler's credit, you saw Wiggins find him, you saw Mitchell find him, you saw Shai find him. These guys were able to connect with him. And then he has this reverse slam off a shovel pass from Chet Holmgren. Those two are putting together great chemistry. All 4 games, those two have connected for easy points for OKC, points that you need to win these games. Think about how slim the margins have been. It's quite the dichotomy. Look it up, where you go from last year being the best point differential in league history to this year, you've played 2 double overtime games, and then this game, which became a 3-point game in clutch time. And you've needed these kind of buckets and these easy buckets from the double bigs that come up huge, down the stretch. In the fourth quarter, when things were going poor, when things look like, okay, OKC is going to blow another one in Dallas. The Dallas Mavericks just have this spell over Oklahoma City, and you're expecting PJ Washington to hit a 3, and you're expecting the worst. It was Isaiah Hartenstein who has a huge putback to stop the bleeding. It was Isaiah Hartenstein who follows that up with a lefty drive for the layup to make it 97-94 and truly get the Thunder out of the woods. You do not win this game without Isaiah Hartenstein. And so he goes back-to-back double-doubles. He has 16 points, 12 rebounds, and a steal. He shot 72% from the floor. You liked what you saw from iHeart. You liked what you saw from Chet Holmgren, who had a night tonight. And the box score does not do it justice for Chet, although it's really good. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks, 4 for 6 from the free throw line. You can't have the 0 for 2 trip, but he did. It's okay. He's got to work through that, though. You've seen him have some costly empty trips, even dating back to last year. He's a good enough shooter where I don't think this will be a long-term problem for him. I think it's a very short-term problem, but it is a problem for the time being. 2 for 5 from 3, which is 40%. And he went on a stretch there where he missed like 4 in a row. And that's going to happen. But what do we talk about Thursday? He's got to keep shooting. Tonight, he kept shooting without hesitation, and it opened up the entire game for him. He went 2 for 5 from 3 and still shot 60% from the floor. And the reason why you've got to keep shooting with no hesitation, even after the 1 for 5 start, is because his biggest highlight of the night, where he posterizes Cooper Flagg, and Cooper Flagg has to jump out of the way as a business decision, it was set up earlier in that clip with a pump fake. A pump fake from a guy who's 1 for 5 from 3 that sent PJ Washington, a good defender, flying past him. Because everybody in the building knows what Chet Holmgren's capable of. They know what caliber of shooter he has been and will be and always has been, dating back to high school, college, and now the NBA. So like the other team respects him from 3, the Thunder themselves view him as a number 3 option and a top 3 option as a scorer. There's no harm in continuing to shoot because good players like Chet will eventually find their way out of it. And tonight, that's exactly what happened. Again, you don't have that poster, those 2 points, without Chet consistently shooting from 3 and not hesitating, because that quick pump fake, getting past him and going to the rim, was all set up by the fact that all night he didn't play to the box score. He didn't play to the scoreboard. He played to his style of basketball, and it worked out. And that's a difference from Thursday. And I point that out not to be negative toward Chet. I point that out of, like, this is still an exceptionally young player who's technically in his 3rd season on the court. But you look at last year, he played 30-something games. So he's still growing. He's still learning. He's still picking up lessons along the way. And it feels like he's picked up that lesson because he's a quick learner, because he does implement these changes really quickly. He also hit a Dirk fade tonight, and the Thunder had back-to-back possessions with hit Dirk fades, and that was cold-blooded. And Chet's in particular, over AD like who's a good defender by reputation and who this fan base in Dallas just does not like, not because of anything that he's done wrong, but because of what he represents. He represents the Luka trade. It was just a cold moment. And then a guy again who's 1 for 5 from three, his second three that he hit, 1 for 4, I should say, and then goes 2 for 5. The second three that he hits, it is curling off of a screen, launching it as a movement shooter, nails it. Because that's what's in his bag. That's what he's able to do. And then defensively, I mean, on one more offensive note, his first bucket of the night was playing off the catch, getting downhill, step through past Cooper Flagg, who's a good defender. But defensively, after a sloppy turnover that he gave away, he makes up for it, repents for it by blocking Cooper Flagg and hushing this crowd. You could feel, even through the television screen, the momentum shifting from that crowd at that moment, because after Cooper's poster Sunday and after Sunday's game from Cooper really endeared himself to this fan base all over again, they were expecting another big Cooper Flagg play. And he denied them that. He denied Dallas that. He denied them the ability to start to dig their way out of a hole. Like Chet Holmgren can be demoralizing to opponents on both ends of the floor. Like Chet's that good. Chet's that kind of player. And this game is why you keep building that confidence and you keep telling him to shoot the ball, regardless of if he's 3 for 3 from three or 0 for 5 from three. Keep shooting the ball. Good things will happen. And they did tonight. Without those two bigs, this game was a loss. And the Thunder are 3-1. Coming up, let's talk SGA. Let's talk Ajay Mitchell. Let's talk this Mavericks game and get you set for Tuesday against Sacramento. But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Ripping, folks. Ripping is incredible. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier. But now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams. So it simply does not work together. That's not SaaS. That's SAD. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finances all in one place. They have helped millions of businesses replace a mass of disconnection and disconnected tools with one simple system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. It's perfect to have all this in one easy-to-use place. They are awesome for you. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access. It runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use. It gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just want to fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. Right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. Remember, you have to learn more at rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free. Also, want to say right now, but good friends over at Monarch, folks, go check out Monarch today because I love using Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth between 401ks, savings, investments. It's easy to lose track. That's leaving money on the table if you lose track of that. That's why I started using Monarch. It's the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Listen, it helps me out so much because Monarch has these visual dashboards that has smart tools to make it so much easier to understand where your money is going. That help makes it easier for me because it's so hard to keep track on your own. I want to know, how much am I paying in subscriptions and what subscriptions can I cut out to save me money every single month? It allows you to track your spending and to get a better handle on your investments and your accounts without ever touching a spreadsheet. And you know this is not a math pod, so I do not like spreadsheets. Go check them out today and do not let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com, at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off of your first year. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. We're here talking Thunder basketball, Thunder 4-0 start. Let's talk SGA. It felt like a tale of two halves, right? Because, I go through and I make these notes live during the games, and there's a clear divide before the fourth quarter begins. Like, his footwork at times is just so silly good. Like, it's just silly. He stops on a literal dime. And so much so that he sends his defender flying at times and somehow slips himself while rising up and hitting an automatic mid-range jumper. He's automatic at the free throw line, the elbow, the free throw line extended. It's just perfect from him. Quick decision makings to attack the defense, either on the ball. He's going to make a quick decision in the first half, get downhill, go score, or quick decision, rise up, take a jumper in the mid-range and score, or quickly gets off the ball and lets the offense continue to thrive, like his assist to Isaiah Hartenstein. He got way more comfortable as a playmaker. One of the assists that didn't show up in the box score, more of a hockey assist, if you will, if you follow me here. He's driving and he throws this behind the back flip pass to Lou Dort, who lets the action keep developing and eventually finds iHeart for a floater. Like, the ball touched 5 players on that play, all stemming from a unique pass from SGA, where you're seeing him get more exploratory with how he's getting the ball out of his hands, capitalizing on transition, getting right to the rim with his start and stop ability. Like, SGA truly embodies toying with the defenders. And then the biggest shot of the night that he hit was he nailed a pull-up off the dribble 3 out of a pick and roll with Jay Will. That's why you keep shooting. For all the talk about Shai's shot diet in the first 3 games, that's why you keep trying this, because we spent all summer long talking about how if Shai can consistently pull that move off, it changes everything for this team. It changes how you have to guard him. If you now have to see your point of attack defender on Shai, which most teams only have one of, get screamed out of the play, and now your help defender can't be awaiting him at the elbow, they've got to come all the way up to the 3-point line. And he can slither right past you, and now you're on your third defender on the help side, and now you've lost ground in a big way. You have 2 guys out of position, and Shai has all this real estate of, like, at the elbow all the way to the rim where he likes to score. It opens up the floor for this offense, which we've seen can stagnate in the half court at times. So you want to see him keep doing that. This spinning fade at the elbow is just truthfully mind-boggling, because if you're a defender, like, on that shot, the defender's draped all over him, but he spins and fades his way into separation and knocks it down. You just shrug your shoulders and say, okay, well, hat tip to you, I guess. I guess you just have it like that. And then another play that doesn't show up in the box score, he has this quick pass entry to Isaiah Hartenstein in the post. Isaiah Hartenstein touch pass, just lets it go immediately to Lou Dort, wide open from 3. Clank. It's that kind of night for the Thunder, that kind of season so far for the Thunder, where this playmaking has really improved the looks that they're getting from 3, and yet they just can't capitalize. He seals PJ Washington under the basket and truly is underneath the net, Shai is, and muscles his way into a layup over PJ Washington. So Shai can do it with his athleticism, with his burst, with his acceleration, deceleration, his footwork, and he can also do it with his raw strength. Most elite scorers have one of those tools. He has every one of them. And that's what made the fourth quarter for Shai so strange. Because he did settle a bit too much in the fourth quarter, as this whole team did. And then, in what could have been a costly miss, it's a clutch time bucket in the fourth quarter. He rises up at the elbow with enough separation against Anthony Davis on this step back mid-range jumper. And he misses. Look, it's unfair to him, but you have to make that shot in this scenario where you're down so many players and you're shorthanded. And no one can be perfect, but you've got to make that shot. Like, if the Thunder would have lost this game, people would have been outraged at that shot that it missed. But he makes that shot 90% of the time. And so, yeah, he missed this one. And I think that if that shot had gone in, people would feel a little bit differently right now about Shai's overall game, because there was a lot of good that we just laid out. But you've been getting to this paint at will against this team, and then in the fourth quarter, you put yourself in a bad spot, and you couldn't stop the bleeding. And Shai still ends up with 23 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, 45% shooting from the floor, and 1 for 3 from 3, and just 2 free throw attempts, 2 for 2 at the line. You should have -1 worry about Shai. Like, not even 0 worry, negative worry about Shai. Like, there is no concern. Like, he's never put together 2 even meh games back to back. I would bank a lot on Shai being dynamite against Sacramento tonight. That's just the kind of player that he is. So again, it was a messy fourth quarter for him and everybody, but it's one of 82. It truly is, in this regard, one of 82, and you're happy to have won this one and have lost this one. But now we're talking Ajay Mitchell. Ajay Mitchell is just electrifying. He's been in double figures every game this season. I believe he scored 14 plus every game this season. And tonight he had 17 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 50% from the floor. And mind you, he shot 50% from the floor while going 0 for 4 from deep and 3 for 3 at the free throw line. More free throws than Shai. His ability to go right to the rack, and tonight did it with his right hand. I believe his first 3 buckets were with his right hand as a lefty. Being ambidextrous at the line, look it up. Like that's, as a driver, that's incredible. In a 1-point game, like these are the margins that win a close game like this. In the end, all these possessions matter. In a 1-point game in the first quarter, he strips D'Lo driving to the rim, strips him, goes out of bounds off of D'Lo. It gets OKC the possession. It takes away easy points for Dallas on that drive from D'Lo. 3 for OKC on the other end. He's so poised and so under control constantly that you have to love what he's able to do as a second-year player. Like the game is truly slowing down for him and has slowed down for him, that he makes the right decision every single time. He has this pump fake that sends the defender flying and fires a great bullet pass to Aaron Wiggins in the slot to get himself a 3 while Mitchell's from the paint. He uses a pump fake to get to the mid post and tosses up a layup over the outstretched arms of PJ Washington while taking legal, I want to stress this, I'm not saying he should have been fouled, but while taking legal body-to-body contact from PJ Washington, who's, again, a good defender. He defends Klay Thompson in the post, and you've heard about, guys getting to their spots offensively. He knocked Klay Thompson off of his spot in an awkward mid-post fadeaway in a telephone booth, and that's not Klay's shot at all. He made an uncomfortable shot for Klay even more uncomfortable. One of the threes he missed was a great pick and roll 3 coming off of a J-Will screen. Hopefully that shot starts to go in for him. But all night he was in attack mode. All night. Huge and 1 over PJ Washington. He receives the ball in the half court at the logo and immediately gets downhill right into Max Christie for the finish. He's just been awesome. Knocking down floaters. And the biggest part that's encouraging for Ajay Mitchell is that he plays to his game. That's all he does. Whether he's having a career night in Indiana, whether he's only playing the first half substantially in the season opener, whether the Thunder are up big, whether the Thunder are losing, it doesn't matter. Like, he just plays his style of basketball. And why is that so important? You have a team who's shorthanded. You have a young guy who's finally getting his opportunity, who's finally getting some usage after he spent most of last season injured. He's feeling himself. The shots are going in. This is typically a do too much zone for players. Not for AJ. AJ never does too much. He does the right things, and it leads to the success you're seeing from him consistently. I thought that J-Will and Wiggins gave this team big minutes off the bench. J-Will checks in with 3 minutes to go in the first quarter to get the double big lineup off, and we talked about that this summer of if J-Will's a guy you can comfortably go to, it'll let you play the double big lineup, which if you believe that that's their best lineup, it lets you play that lineup for longer stretches to open a game if you can truly turn to J-Will and not have to stagger off one of the 2 bigs. And he hauled in a rebound immediately off of a missed free throw by PJ Washington. He had a massive block tying up Klay Thompson at the rim and forcing a turnover. He stands up AD in the low post, and AD spins into Lou Dort and gets a cheap foul on Lou Dort whenever Lou Dort came in late to double team him. But still, like, he stood up AD in the low post. He also has improved as an improviser. And take this with a grain of salt. This is a very low sample size. But there was a play tonight where Lou Dort just shovels him the ball from elbow to elbow practically. And this is a spot where, like, Jay was not going to take an elbow mid-range jumper. Like, he's a 3 or a passer. Like, he's either going to shoot a 3 or he's going to be a playmaker. And, the previous versions of J-Will would have at that time just stopped, just froze and looked for how can I set someone else up. This version of J-Will on the catch just immediately goes downhill, gets a slam, puts up 4 points and forces Dallas to puts up 4 points total, but on that slam forces Dallas into a timeout. 4 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block for J-Will tonight. Wiggins, he's been playing his role really well. This is another guy who's not trying to do too much, even though right now, with J-Dub out, he's your second best shot creator as an isolation scorer, but he's not trying to do too much, and he's been efficient. He was 5 for 12 from the floor tonight overall, but 1 for 6 from three. So some of that, of course, is deflated on the percentages of how efficient he was. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Aaron Wiggins, now this is a very small sample size. It was 1 play, but Aaron Wiggins isolated on Cooper Flagg, forced Cooper Flagg to pass it out and to not take advantage of that. For a guy who's had some defensive limitations in the past, he had an isolation on Klay Thompson in transition where he hits Klay Thompson with his turnaround hook shot that was very impactful for this Thunder offense. He created for himself at the rim. He had this lightning quick crossover and burst to the rim for an easy layup. And then he ends the first quarter with a triple off the catch and shoot at the buzzer, with 2 seconds left. So practically the buzzer, because Dallas could not go underneath to the floor. And that helped this team out in a huge way. And then Brooks Barnhizer, to wrap it up, had first quarter minutes again. His rebounding ability shined in his limited sample size. But here's what I want to talk about with Brooks Barnhizer. He had 2 points and a rebound. Why am I talking about Brooks Barnhizer? The 2 points was on this tough rise-up mid-range jumper. That's worth noting because if you follow Brooks Barnhizer's collegiate career and what made him a draft prospect is, for everything that we've talked about leading into this season about Brooks Barnhizer and his offensive limitations and his three-point shot's not there and how is he going to be impactful offensively, like the mid-range shot was his bread and butter in college to score the basketball. That's tougher to get to in an off-the-ball play finishing NBA role. You're just not able to create that mid-range look at all because no one's going to have a catch and shoot mid-range guy anymore in the modern NBA. But he got to that tonight. He nailed it. I'm interested to see if they can incorporate that just a tiny bit more or just how he kind of works around that being his kind of really offensive prowess, offensive go-to is that mid-range jumper. I'm excited to see what this team does against Sacramento on Tuesday, second night of a back-to-back. I'll be in the Paycom Center, so come find me. We have Locked On Thunder stickers if you want one of those. Folks, this is Locked On Thunder, your teams every day. You everydayers know that Monday through Friday, plus after every single game, so bonus pods on the weekend, plus Monday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time, live with Derek Parker on the Locked On Thunder YouTube channel and uploaded to your favorite podcast feed after the fact. And again, we do have a new show coming out soonish on this feed that you're going to want to be a part of as well. So subscribe. No better time than now to subscribe to Locked On Thunder on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get them. Let us know what you think of the show and follow me on Twitter at Ryland_Stiles. And until next time, be good and be good to one another, folks.